Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Now in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So about a week or so ago I put out a story on my Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, the handle is just here, asking for my followers to send in raw images for me to edit. Lots of you did that, so thank you to anybody that sent images through. I hand selected a few of those today, and I thought I'd edit them, go through editing them with you and talk you through what I'm doing on each image, so how I would apply my style to an image that's been taken by somebody else. So we're going to go through this together. Now, just to put a little caveat on this, there is no right or wrong way to edit a photo. What I'm doing with these is just my style. That's not to say that it's any better or any worse than anybody else, so just making sure that I get that out there. So let's have a look at the images and go through them one by one. So first up is this portrait sent in by Matt. Now it's a huge file with loads of detail, so thanks for that. And what I'm going to do for each image in turn is apply my personal curves only preset, just with my curves exactly how I like them to get my signature look. Although to see what's inside those you'll have to wait until I release some presets. Then I'll go through colour calibration to get the colours set, go through white balance and exposure to balance the image a little, before going through my actual adjustments like shadows, highlights, contrast, etc. I then move into the HSL panel to fine tune the colours even further and move on to split toning. And with split toning you'll see that I put my saturation up to the maximum, make sure that I get the exact colour that I want before dropping it back down to apply it. I then sharpen the image up a touch using all the information in this huge file, and used an adjustment brush just to add some shadows back into the t-shirt to make sure that it's the face what the viewer focuses on. I then tidy up one or two of the stray hairs with the clone tool, and that's this image finished, and here's the before and after. Now I've actually chosen another image sent by Matt of him and his mates on this jeep out in the desert somewhere. Now I chose this one firstly because of how different it is from the first one, and also because I really wanted to play around with it, brightening it up and trying to bring out the detail in the shadows, whilst also using split toning to really switch up the look, which you'll notice in a second. Again, I'm using colour calibration in the HSL tab, along with split toning, to give the image a super cold, cool look, to contrast against the fact that it's obviously been taken somewhere pretty warm. Again, this is just me playing around with the image, trying things out. I hope that you like it. Next up is a great image shot by my good friend Lauren Tugwell on her recent trip to my favourite place, New York City. Now after a little crop and rotation, I wanted to have really deep blacks in this image, get the colours really punchy whilst also crushing the whites and having the coolness of the bridge in the background, really going for my version of kind of that New York City fashion look. I did this by pulling the whites and highlights all the way back, adding a small amount of contrast, texture and clarity, and then by playing with the tones of the dress colours with teals and oranges really making it stand out, and by pushing the oranges closer to pinks and reds to contrast with the blues and the teals of the background. Now you'll notice here in a second that I keep going back and forth with my adjustments and playing around with the white balance in order to get something that I was happy with. So hopefully you guys, and Lauren especially, are happy with the end result. We've now got this great shot by Brandy, another friend of mine from Manchester, and I absolutely love this shot taken on a basketball court. I love that the background is blue because it really lets me play with one of my favourite colours to edit. I really wanted to move that blue towards teal and to make the subject stand out using the floor as the backdrop, with the red bandana and the CDG heart as little flashes of colour just to keep it interesting. So after applying and adjusting the tone curves, I moved on to playing around with the tones of the colours, including again taking the yellows out of the image, bringing the teal and orange notes in through split toning. I made sure it was nice and sharp, and then went back to pull those shadows out a little bit more and also warm it up a touch just to account for all the blue in the image. All that left me to do was to tidy a few stray bits from the floor that I found a little too distracting, and that's another one all done. Next up is this sunset shot by JT. Some really nice colours in this one that I wanted to play around with, really pulling the yellow out of those greens and pushing in more oranges and reds, pulling the shadows out and bringing back as much of the detail in the sky as possible. You'll see here as I go through the HSL tab how much difference pulling those yellows out makes. It's definitely something which you'll either love or hate. Split toning again puts a little touch of teal into the image while staying quite warm overall. And I also added a graduated filter from the bottom to darken and bring out the detail in the grass in the foreground, just to give the image some more depth. So it's a little different to the others, but still a result that I'm happy with overall. Finally, we've got this image shot by another good friend of mine, Robert Hilton, who's doing some amazing work out in Dubai. I love how clean this image is, and I know that Rob loves his teal tones, which works perfectly for me. So I started by adding some contrast and clarity, pulling the shadows out and again pulling back the highlights and whites in order to give me a platform to then move on to working with the skin tones and the blues, making sure that the image was still balanced even with so much teal in there. This allows the subject to really stand out, which is the whole purpose of the image in the first place. I'm really happy with the final look here, and hopefully Rob will approve. So there you go, I hope that you enjoyed that. I certainly found it interesting applying my editing style to other people's images. A huge thank you to everybody that sent images in. Sorry that I couldn't use all of them, but there were a lot that got sent in. Although if people have enjoyed this video, then I may well do it again in the future. Do make sure that you go and check out everybody whose images I used today. All their Instagrams will be in the description below. Also as well, let me know in the comments which your favourite image was, whether you liked my edits, whether you didn't like them, what you'd have done differently. Also as well, if you've got any other ideas for videos similar to this that you want me to do, pop them in the comments as well. I always go through the comments and reply to everybody that puts a comment on. I hope that you either like this video. If you have, click that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It makes a huge difference. I've got lots planned over the next few weeks and months. It's just a case of getting around to filming and editing everything and getting it all out there for you. So I will do my best to get as much content as possible out for you during this time. Other than that, as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.